From the Big Patriot Studios, it's time for Beaufort County's House of Cards.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Beaufort County's House of Cards, right here on the Big Patriot Radio Network. Glad to have you on this Thursday evening. And no matter where you're listening and watching in, we will welcome you in here. And don't forget, Big Patriot Radio will play this every Thursday night. At the same time, we have last week's show. So, if you can't tune in live, tune in on Thursdays on bigpatriotradio.com, and you can catch up on the latest episode. Also on Big Patriot Radio, don't forget on Monday nights, we have the New America Movement, Jordan Cox and crew on at 7 o'clock p.m. and then again at 9 o'clock on an encore show. Tuesday nights feature the Overton Report with Corey Allen at 7 o'clock and then a repeat show, an encore show at 8 p.m. Thursday nights, again, we have the House of Cards. Sundays, we have the Culture Crossroads with Andrew Southwick at 7 o'clock p.m. And then at 8 o'clock p.m., the Freedom Hour with Frank Friedenauer. All those are the podcasts that are on BigPatriotRadio.com. Great show tonight for everyone. A little bit different kind of a spin on things that you may have been used to over the last several weeks. Looking forward to hearing your comments. And you can do those in your whatever method you're on, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever medium you're on. There's a chat area. You can go put in your comments in that chat area, and we will post them here. Questions, etc. Just type away, whatever format you're on. And hey, if you're watching on the replay, well, sorry. Anyway, the most requested song this past week, as we predicted it would be, Rich Men North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony, and the number one city of listeners right here in Bluffton, South Carolina. So congratulations to everyone for that. Awesome job. And before we get too far into this, make sure everything's working here, we want to go ahead and let you hear your 5-minute news.
This is VOA News. In Washington, I'm Jeff Custer. Russian mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin is presumed dead in a fiery plane crash, and while Western officials are disputing exactly how his plane went down, there's little doubt he posed a threat to Russian President Vladimir Putin's interests when he led a mutiny in June. Prigozhin is far from the first to oppose the Russian president and later die or come close to death, with the Kremlin denying involvement in all cases. Reuters correspondent Lucy Fielder looks at a few of them.
The officials stressed the information was still
And I believe we have lost. There we go.
Recorded piece in that regard. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, meanwhile, is set to surrender in Atlanta, Georgia, in the next few hours on charges he schemed to overturn his 2020 Georgia election loss. Associated Press Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports Trump has shaken up his legal team before today's surrender in Atlanta.
Trump has hired a new lead lawyer for the Georgia case. Not the first time he's upended his team, either just before an indictment or in the immediate aftermath. In the hours before his surrender, scores of Trump backers are already at the Fulton County Jail, some waving flags with his name. Some sheriff's deputies wearing black masks have lined up on a street.
That's AP correspondent Sagar Bagani reporting. The Pentagon announced Thursday the U.S. would begin flight training for Ukrainian pilots on F-16 aircraft beginning in October. Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder said the training would begin after the Ukrainian pilots received English training classes in September in Texas. The flight training would take place in Arizona. This is VOA News. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has left tens of thousands of people dead, displaced millions, and sown economic turmoil across the world in the 18 months since its launch on February 24th of 2022. Reuters correspondent Olivia Zolino has more on the war's impact.
Here is a closer look at the impact the war has had on its people and the world. In terms of casualties, the war has caused death on a level Europe hasn't seen since World War II. By the end of July, more than 9,000 civilians have been recorded as killed and another 16,000 injured. That's according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, though actual figures are believed to be much higher. Millions of Ukrainians have been forced from their homes or internally displaced by the war. The United Nations Refugee Agency puts the number requiring urgent humanitarian support at more than 17 million. Around 6 million Ukrainian refugees are spread out across Europe. 11% of Ukraine's territory has been taken over since the start of the war.
That's Reuters correspondent Olivia Zolino reporting. A lawsuit has been filed against a Hawaiian utility in response to the fires that ravaged the city of Lahaina on the island of Maui. Associated Press correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
Maui County has sued Hawaiian Electric Company over the fires that devastated Lahaina, saying the utility negligently failed to shut off power despite high winds and dry conditions. Witness accounts and video indicated that sparks from the power lines ignited fires as utility poles snapped in the winds, which were driven by a passing hurricane. Noting that many companies in California have shutdown periods during high wind events, the lawsuit claims had the utility done the same, the massive destruction could have been avoided. I'm Shelley Adler.
Meanwhile, firefighters in Greece are struggling to control more wildfires, one of which includes the European Union's largest blaze on record. Associated Press correspondent Karen Shamas reports.
The wildfire in Alexandroupolis continued for a sixth day as it combined with smaller nearby fires. Romanian firefighters joined with the Greeks to help battle the blazes, declared to be the largest on record that the EU has faced. In Athens, Greek firefighting helicopters attempted to extinguish a major wildfire burning on the northwestern fringes of the capital. I'm Karen Chamas.
For additional news stories 24 hours a day, visit our website, voanews.com. In Washington, I'm Jeff Custer. This is VOA News.
And that is your 5-minute news.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. News, country pop, and classic rock.
All right. So, anyway, back to what we're doing here tonight. And again, thank you for everybody tuning in. Each and every week, it's growing more and more. The number of people that are watching this after the live is incredible. I still, wish they all would watch live, but hey, we got stuff to do. We got life. So it's growing. Thank you for telling people. I'm hearing from people all over the state, especially the state, but all over the place. Talked to a gentleman this past week or so. I believe he is out of Maryland. I think it was Maryland or Pennsylvania. He's a writer for a Jewish outlet, and he called and had watched this. And anyway, good to have folks on here. So last night, Fox News hosted the first GOP presidential debate. I'm sure everybody by now is well aware of that, featuring 8 of the 11 or 12 people or whatever it is that have jumped in. So normally we don't get into a lot of federal things, but this is different. I mean, this is different. And we're going to dissect this for you. Now, this is only my opinions. You don't have to agree 100%. You don't have to agree 50%. You know what? You don't have to agree at all, to be quite honest. Now, if you do agree 100%, I mean, that's awesome. But that's perfectly normal not to. So that's one of the things of public discourse is okay to not agree 100%. So I just say that because so many people get caught up on because one thing you may not agree with your neighbor on, and all of a sudden you're polarized each other, and that's not smart. That's not. We have to have differences, and this because it's my show. It's only my opinion. So again, if you want to jump on it, great. If you don't, great. If you want to leave me a comment, even greater, do that on the outline of the platform rather that you're on, and we'll put it up on here if you want to. If you say, hey, I don't want to be seen, then fine, I won't publish it. Anyway, let's start off with Fox News's performance. Brett and Martha. And did you know that Brett Baer has some of his background is here on Hilton Head Island? That's right. He used to work way back for, I believe it was today it's WJWJ. I don't know if it was then or not, because it's back a while pre me getting here. But he was in news locally. So how about that? Anyway, my big thing with my wife and I watched this, and Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, quite frankly, did not have control of this exercise. Whatsoever. I mean, at times it was better, but really at the end of it, they admittedly didn't look like they were in sync with each other. Excuse me. To be quite honest, I didn't think they were in sync. There was, in television, everything is pre-scripted, from people who are giving audio and monologue and that kind of thing. It's scripted. All right. It's not live like this, where you just do it off the hip, even though with notes, they have a script. They didn't look like they were together. The set, beautiful set, well put together in my view. But I would give Martha and Brett a C-. I just thought they did I didn't think they did a good job. I just didn't. The overall winner from last night, and again, this is my opinion. Love to hear yours. In my opinion, was Vivek Ramaswamy. This mostly unknown guy came out with an exceptionally shiny pair of brass balls. He stood by his convictions. He threw hard balls back at the career establishment politicos. And that is the key thing I want you to take away from this. Everyone on that stage were or are career establishment politicos. Period. They all are, except him. Sound familiar? He threw those hard balls back at them, and he swung hard at those they threw at him. One thing about this guy, and I know very little, only what I've taught myself, he is no dummy. No dummy at all. When Trump ran back in 15, 16, whatever, his claim then was that we need a businessman in office, not a career politician. Everybody remember that? Do you remember those conversations? I was on the ticket here locally, and I happened to use that as well, that we need business people in local office, not only lawyers. Anyway, back to this. Ramaswamy took that ball and he ran with it. All of the others on that stage seemed to have been prepped for that and turned it into a shouting match. Now, here's some background in 101 of debating. There is a tremendous amount of preparation, an ad nauseum amount of preparation. But you also need to be you. And we'll talk about those who failed at that last night. He was prepped, but he looked legitimate. This is Ramaswamy. When it turned into the shouting match, that alone should tell you how bad the establishment does not want anyone, not of their ilk, in the White House. That right there, that sentence to me is the entire 2 hours. No one on that stage that is emboldened to or embodied of the career establishment politician, that base, none of them want anything to do with someone who is not like them. The outsiders, the non-career politicians, they got pushed by Ramaswamy, and he poked that monkey long enough, and they all, except for Hutchinson and Burgum, who were just glad to be there, everybody else, and Scott didn't fall for it either, but the rest of them fell for it and jumped on it. Ramaswamy made some good points. He also made a couple of bad ones that I would recommend he change or fine tune. But to me, he clearly came out on top. Chris Christie called him Trump's wingman. Astute observation. He also said that he had no substance on the Ukraine issue. Funny, coming from Chris Christie, whose only substance is carbohydrates. On foreign policy, Vivek has a lot of learning to do. This should sound almost exactly like 2016. When I went back and read my notes, I thought I was back in time. This sounds very similar. I think you will agree it sounds similar. On foreign policy, Vivek Ramaswamy has some learning to do, a lot of learning to do. But I agree with him. I don't want to see American boots on foreign soil, such as the Ukraine or Taiwan. I agree with peace through strength. Absolutely. Unequivocally. That is something Trump did that was phenomenal. He spent too much, they say. Yes, he did. He had to. Obama decimated the military might of the United States. On the abortion issue, I agree 100% that there should not be a federal or national abortion ban. I agree with that. I have said it for years. The federal government should stay out of the abortion issue. That is a state issue, not a federal issue. 3 of them last night made it a federal issue based on not that what they're saying is wrong. I just disagree with it being on a federal level. They're taking a moral stance to the federal level. I understand that. The conversation may be correct. I just don't think the federal government needs to get into that business like so many others they have been in and still are. The federal government staying out of it is something that I had written down that Ramaswamy agrees with me on. The most shocking thing for viewers had to be the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy stole the spotlight, in my opinion, from Ron DeSantis. Coming into last night, I think, and I believe that everyone thought, well, this is going to be the Ron DeSantis show because Donald Trump is not there. And let's see if anybody else can keep up with him. I give Vivek Ramaswamy an A for what he did last night. An A. His performance was A. Next up, Governor Ron DeSantis, the number 2 man in the poll, the race coming into last night's event, extremely well coached. Whoever his consultants are, extreme amount of time they have spent with him, coaching him. Well prepared, very well prepared. His consultants, as a matter of fact, did such a good job. He, in my opinion, seemed stiff, very too book-like. This showed all too well as Ramaswamy went on, like full on the people's man, and DeSantis sort of stumbled. Like you could see the look in his eyes and his face, like he was glaring at the camera, running through preparation. How do I answer this? Running through training and preparation. How do I respond? When he did crack, a couple of times, DeSantis made some good points. I like that when he said, Martha, quote, "Martha, we are not school children here. Let's take this seriously." That was in response to Martha McCallum asking for a show of hands in regards to something. DeSantis scored some points when he invoked, he was the first one and eventually the only one. The country hit Richmond, north of Richmond by Oliver Anthony into a question. This obviously was well planned and well received. Those who were there, you could hear for yourself. You can look on social media. It was well received. That was rehearsed. There was a time and a place to invoke that, and he nailed that. Give that to him. DeSantis made some good points explaining the horrible Bidenomics plan and how it has affected Americans, the base. His comment of, quote, "I'll send troops to Mexico and we'll leave drug smugglers stone cold dead," he said. End quote. That was bad. Real bad. It was an emphasis added comment, but rational people heard that and laughed. We're going to send troops to Mexico and we'll leave the drug smugglers, the cartels, he said, actually, stone cold dead. Obviously, he rehearsed, as one media outlet rehearsed a lot of trying to be a tough guy. But when it came across the tough guy, it was sophomoric. It was very unbelievable. DeSantis had the opportunity. He had every opportunity to say something like, well, I did this and I will do that, and I have no indictments or arrests, period. But he didn't. He had that opportunity. Actually, everybody had that opportunity. I'm surprised that nobody, especially DeSantis, didn't take advantage of that. Just that little jab would have been much better than we're going to leave the drug smugglers stone cold dead after we send troops to Mexico. DeSantis overall score, I give him a C minus. And honestly, that's being nice. Next up was former Vice President Mike Pence. Very quick to point out that I am, he said, quote, I am the only one here who has the obvious experience for this job, unquote. Very boastful and not what I consider to be the tool bag for Mike Pence. Very boastful, very surprising, very, very argumentative. Again, to me, that was very surprising. Mike Pence, I remember meeting him at the Citadel when he was here. Very calm, has that demeanor normally of almost like a pastor. Something like that. Not last night was not him. That was not him. Very boastful. And that's very surprising. Calling out Ramaswamy when Mike Pence did that as a rookie was a little odd to me, considering his old boss was a rookie himself. Again, take yourself back to 16. If this is not as similar as then, I don't know what could be. There was a rookie on the stage. Yeah, he had amassed a wealth of billions. So is Ramaswamy. Politically, rookie is greenhorn. So is Ramaswamy. But people ate that shit up. And then he did what he said he was going to do. So Pence saying that, him truly saying that we need career politicians deep in the seediness of DC by calling out Ramaswamy as a rookie. That's what he said. When he called him out, he is saying that career politicians, not the populist, the globalist is what we need. The elitist is what we need. The establishment is what we need. That is what Mike Pence was saying when he said, we don't need a rookie. My, how things have changed. The same thing they all say that they say they're not. Some of and I don't like using the term rhino. I think that gets overused. So I'm not going to say that. I'm going to call them establishment career politicians, globalists. They are becoming like what we have been complaining about, we conservatives, the Democrats for years. They're becoming them. They say the same thing they all say that they aren't, they really are. Is that not what we've been saying about Democrats in public office? Call you a slime when they are a slime. And interestingly, we should all go ahead and acknowledge that all 8 of them are trying to appeal to the Trump base. You have to acknowledge that. That is what they're trying to appeal to. Trump has 40 plus 42, I think, something like that, in Rasmussen polls going into this, 42, 43, somewhere like that. You're going to have to appeal to his base. You got to get some off of there. You got to peel that onion back. because you're running out of time. Pence shut himself right out of that. He came into this saying, hey, I'm the only obvious choice because I've been there. I've done this. I've been there. I got the T-shirt. I got the scars. And then he totally distances himself from the Trump base, be it the hardcore Trump base or the mediocre. He has distanced himself severely. Ramaswamy, let me back up a second. He distanced himself in the worst way when asked about a possible pardon from a President Pence to a former President Trump. He would not answer with a yes or no, but he would not answer. Ramaswamy asked him to join him in vowing to pardon the former president. Pence said, and I quote, he would give fair consideration to any pardon requests. He also said that pardons, quote, usually come from following a finding of guilt and contrition by the individual that's been convicted. That was a major oomph to Donald Trump by Mike Pence. That was also a major oomph to any Trump supporters that may be concerned that they should put their votes somewhere else. I can tell you it probably will not go to Mike Pence. Probably will not go to Mike Pence. That's right there. That's where the Trump base said, screw you, Jack. I guarantee it. Pence was measured, if you will, in response to several points. He just looked bad when trying to, again, be argumentative with Ramaswamy, the experienced diplomat, politician, bought it. Hook, line, and sinker, he argued, he lost. The rookie argued, go back to 2016, that rookie argued too. He's a rookie. What does he know? The career politician is supposed to be measured, is supposed to hold a different level of decorum. Even they say that. Mike Pence bought it and just about annihilated himself out of it. In my opinion, Mike Pence, I'll give him a C+. Senator Tim Scott, one of our own right here in South Carolina, who is a fine fellow. If you were to base the evening off of professionalism, one, not wanting to engage in argumentative barbs, it would be Tim Scott, in my opinion. Tim's answers were consistent with generally what his answers have always been. Some folks have gotten the feeling that I grew up in with a single mom and that the whole thing, they're like, we need something new. Kind of like Nancy Mace with the 12-inch strip of duct tape on the floor of the Waffle House or Huddle House or whatever the hell it was. People got tired of that. I think that is one of Tim's, if you want to call it a fault, I appreciate his upbringing, but whatever. Anyway, Tim's answers have been what Tim's answers are. Having met with Senator Scott multiple times, even sharing breakfast with him twice, he was, in my opinion, a bit uptight, a bit nervous. Now, he gives speeches all the time in public. This is a different flavor. I mean, he's been in the Senate for some time now. He's not, naive to a microphone. That's a different stage when you're on that stage. This is a different thing. But he was uptight. He was a little nervous. His absolute best thing he said during the evening was this, and I love this. quote, if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. If you commit a violent crime, you go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men, unquote. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. That was awesome. And I agree 110%. However, I'm still afraid that Scott does not have the name recognition west of the Mississippi River yet. Is there time? Yeah, there's still time, but he has got a lot of work to do. As you may have heard him say, he asked directly at the very end to voters in Iowa. He said, please caucus for me. The only person on that stage in any ask, please vote for me, please donate to me, whatever. He is the only one that mentioned a state. It happened to be a flyover west of the Mississippi. Please, Iowans, caucus for me. He understands this uphill struggle. Scott's performance, in my opinion, earns him a B, but he's still facing an uphill battle. Wow, former Governor Chris Christie. What a complete and utter goofball, in my opinion. I mean, this guy has gotten so bent out of shape. He's so pissed off because Donald Trump did not give him a job in the cabinet, specifically, I would assume, Attorney General, or maybe one of his personal lawyers. He is so upset that he goes on these tirades. What a goofball. 10 minutes in. Is that how long it took? Was it 10 minutes? And he spouts out, I am already sick of this. Meaning Ramaswamy. And Christie didn't stop there. I agree. He didn't stop there. I agree, Julianne. He literally blasted Trump up one leg and down the other. Right or not, Governor Christie, if you happen to get this, that'd be awesome, because I have some advice for you. Chris, Governor, you have got to find a way to appeal to the base of Trump. But you failed. You failed miserably. Christie called Trump a coward, called him afraid, told viewers that, quote, someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct, end quote. And I'm assuming he's referring to Trump's way of conducting himself and his 4 indictments. Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct. Chris Christie, the epitome of a globalist, elitist establishment, conservative, or a neocon, showed his card right there because he wants you to stop normalizing anything that they do not agree with. Don't normalize this behavior. Christie said he would not support Donald Trump as the nominee. Christie, well, and I say that because, they had the whole raising of the hands thing, and Ron DeSantis was looking around, which was a major, you don't do that. It's a cardinal sin against debating. Chris Christie was late to the gate, and he looked at me like he raised his hand, but he told Martha and Brett that he was doing, something like this, something like that. Christie and Ramaswamy got into several sparring matches, but one specifically stuck out to me. During one round, Christie said, you've never done, and this is a quote, you've never done anything to advance the interests of this government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. Let's read that again. You've never done anything, Ramaswamy, to advance the interests of this government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. That first part right there. You've never done anything to advance this government. Let's play a little game here. Let's play a little game. Let's take out the word government and let's put in the word citizens of America. Okay? You've never done anything to advance the interests of the citizens of America except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. Do you see where a little change in the wording takes it to a different level? That's going from asshole to just being a prick. Okay? But you can handle the prick. Being an asshole is an asshole. Chris Christie is an asshole, a large asshole. The thing about the government, all kidding aside, he is more worried about the government than the citizens. Bring that down to a county council level in your town or mine, your county or mine. If county council or the school board members actually are more concerned and more worried about being the government, not being the representative of the people to the government, do you see the correlation here? That stuck out like a sore thumb when Christie said that. Thank you, Paul. Trump said on Tucker's show that he did not trust Christie, and that's why he didn't hire him. I believe it 100%. I personally don't want a president of the U.S. to be there to beef up the government. I really don't want that. Conservatives generally don't want that. We don't want more government. We want less government. Get the government out of people's lives as much as they are, or as much as they're getting ready to be. Get the government out of the people's businesses as much as they are, or as much as they could be. Less government, Chris Christie, not more government. Chris Christie, from me, gets a solid F. A big, solid F. Former Governor Nikki Haley. Haley had a few good moments, actually, and a few not so good. One good one was that she supported the move that abortion should not be a federal issue, rather leaving that to all 50 states to decide for themselves. She was vocal that adoption should be encouraged countrywide. I happen to agree with that. I think that should be taken up on a state level in your General Assembly or your whatever you have in your state, that there should be things in place on a state level to encourage adoptions. Okay? I agree with you on that, Nikki. She made a mistake, I think, when she went from diplomat to a boxer, literally attacking Ramaswamy. Again, remember what I said at the beginning now. This is a novice, self-made man, a novice, not beholden to anybody, not bought by anybody, not there for anybody. What does he know? What does he know? He's the rookie, like Pence said. Take us back to 16. Very similar. He poked the monkey, and the monkey came out swimming or spinning. And that monkey this time was Nikki Haley. When talking foreign policy, and everyone in the room and on TV, besides Mike Pence and a smidgen of Tim Scott, just because he's in the Senate and they do some foreign affairs things, a lot of foreign affairs things, everyone knew and everyone knows that Nikki Haley, former ambassador to the UN, was the expert in the room when it comes to foreign policy. I don't know anybody that could argue that point legitimately. Haley, however, lit into his ass when she said, quote, "You have no foreign policy experience and it shows," end quote. She yelled it out. Now, a true world-class diplomat could have made that sting so much stronger if she handled that a bit differently. Think of the comment, "You have no foreign policy experience and it shows." Yelling, put her finger in his face, right up to him. If she'd handled it a little bit different, not shown the emotion, not let him know, "You just got to me, buddy. You got to me," it would have been received a little bit differently. That's where theatrics makes all the difference. That's where some consultants will teach you about being the theatrics, just like a lawyer. Some are good at it, some suck. Nikki Haley got shown last night. On climate change, Haley seemed to flip-flop here and there, and based on what I've heard her say in person and so forth. So at the end of it, I took away that she acknowledged the science on climate. That's where she is. She acknowledges the science on climate. So, I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I mean, I'm not totally sure what that means. I mean, I have my own convictions. I personally, and I don't mind saying this, I personally believe that climate has been changing ever since the friggin' earth formed. It's been changing. Does that mean mankind has an effect on climate? Well, I mean, that seems possible. I mean, knowing what carbon emissions do, it makes sense. I mean, I get it. More people, more emission. I mean, that's only makes sense. Democrats are hell-bent, man, you got to get on the science. All right, well, let's look at it scientifically. It has been changing. We went through, ice ages. We've gone through fire. It's a continually changing thing. If that is the solid case of the left, the climate change, the climate issue, then they need to be spending their efforts on China, India, Russia, North Korea about emissions. In my own industry, we have gas furnaces that are 98% efficient. All right, burning natural gas or liquid propane, LP gas. That's 2% of what comes out of the combustion exchanger, the heat exchanger, is unburned fuel. 2%. 98% of it is water, to be actually honest with you. Nowhere else they're using this. The majority of places they're not using this. India does not use that. Let's talk to them. This is what the left needs to do. Not, go into the mankind ruining the climate, Greta Thunberg from Finland or wherever, and Alexander AOC or whatever the shit her name is, what they claim. No, I don't believe at all in their interpretation. They are playing on the hearts and minds of people, claiming science this and science that. But when you put science in front of them, all of a sudden they run and call you, well, you're an asshole. You're an idiot. While we are on it, don't get me started, dear liberals, on us being science deniers. When you cannot accept the science that we as humans are born male or female, and it is not our choice. We're born that way. You come out, the doctor says, it's a boy, there's a penis. Or the doctor says, you're a girl, there's a vagina. That's it. You don't come out, well, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith, or Mr. Smith and Mr. Smith. What would you like it to be? That's ridiculous. But that's what some of them think. That's called idiocy. Anyway, away from that for a second. Haley gets a B-. Did she move in the polls? I doubt it. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe she'll stay where she is. But I don't see any movement from her really. She'll be there for the next one. And let's just keep her eye on her. Governor Asa Hutchinson out of Arkansas. One of two people on the stage that I firmly believe are completely wasting the money of their supporters. I like the guy. He seems like a good man, a decent man, but he is in zero way presidential ready material. The Boston Globe, which is a uber hard left newspaper, said Hutchinson was the most Reagan-like on the stage. Unbelievable. Where the fuck did that come from? What a ridiculous thing to say. What a total ridiculous. I don't think any of them were trying to be Reagan, to be honest with you. They don't need to be. They need to be themselves. Hutchinson receives an F and needs to get out of this race. I think this is his third time or second time. I think he left a surplus, which is awesome, to the incoming governor of Arkansas when he got out. Governor Huckabee, I think it was like a billion, was it? 2 million. That's what it was. $2 million surplus or something. That's great. But this ain't Arkansas, sweetheart. This ain't Arkansas. Anyway, Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota came onto the stage with some crutches, if you caught it early enough. Reported earlier in the day he was shooting basketball. That's how he stays fit. I like that he's an active guy. And I think he tore his Achilles or something. And then he went to the doctor. They got him in to see the doctor of the Milwaukee Bucks. I got to give it to the guy. He has serious balls getting up there. Anyway, if you tore an Achilles and you're up there, you're a stud. You're a stud, dude. You're one of those Buffalo out of North Dakota. Wow. Clearly outclassed. When he said, I come from a town of 300 people and this is a pretty big deal. I appreciate that. That's good fodder. And not on the national stage, not right now, not the very first introduction. People are going, who are you? You come from a town of 300 people and you want to be president of the country for what reason we really don't know. Oh, and you're a billionaire, and you have a really cool funding mechanism. Clearly outclassed. I did like some of his earlier comments early on. It was kind of like, okay, all right, I'm working with this. But the longer this lasted, the less impressed I was, and to the eventual point where I was like, no, this guy's way out of his league. The Susan B. Anthony Foundation, a national anti-abortion group, which I belong to, came out, just hammered Burgum because he would not agree to a national abortion plan. I disagree with SBA, Susan B. Anthony Foundation. I don't believe there should be a federal mandate or a federal law with that. They hammered the hell out of him. I agree with them on that. SBA came out and said they were favoring comments and supporting Tim Scott, Asa Hutchinson, and Mike Pence. Those three said they thought a federal ban was appropriate. Burgum is only known and this is from what others have told me in the circle, that he is known in the flyover states. And you could tell that's where his heart is, and I appreciate that. Farming, energy production, the environment, I get it. Totally get it. I totally respect that. But that's a very small piece of the puzzle. And I'm not discounting him on those efforts. The Dakotas is a great place. I've never been there, but it's a great place. Look at, the governor in South Dakota doing a bang up job. North Dakota too. It's a great place, they say. Not discounting him on those efforts at all. Don't get me wrong, but he is not presidential material in my opinion. Now, his funding mechanism, which is interesting, he is self-funding his campaign. Now, check this out. He's self-funding it as a billionaire. But one of the requirements to get on the stage set by the the RNC with Ronna McDaniel and our lovely Drew McKissick is that one of the requirements is they had to have 40,000 individual donors. All right, not just not just one lump sum. They didn't want people like Donald Trump or Burgum who could self-fund it and not collect any money, which is admirable. What he came up with was he gave away $20 gift certificates, and I don't know if it was Visa, American Express, I don't know. It was $20 gift cards. If you sent in at least $1, he would give you 20, mail it right to you. $20 or $1 buys you 20. Obviously, for the people, that's a good deal. He can afford an $800. If it was 40,000 on the nose, that's an $800,000 loss. He could give a shit. Obviously, he amassed those 40,000 minimum donors. Overall, I would give Burgum an A for an effort, but an F as a candidate. An F as a candidate. It's not his time. He's not the guy. Again, he is only known in the flyover states. More power to the guy. I got to give it to him for that, but not this. As far as the and it's not a scam. Don't get me wrong. Somebody had said today on the Talking Heads that his way of collecting signatures and donors was a scam. That's not a scam. That's just being creative. That's like saying, well, Donald Trump or Ramaswamy or this Burgum are crooked because they don't pay much taxes. Well, they don't pay many taxes because they have the ability to do what the system allows them to do. Until we fix our income tax and federal tax and state tax system and go to a fair tax on one and a flat tax on the other, people like that can and will escape from paying taxes. It's not that they're crooked, or it's not that they're shady. It's because the system is laid out for them and they're taking advantage of it. Why on earth would they not? I mean, come on. Donald Trump said this during his tenure when people were crying out for his taxes and all that. Well, you didn't pay any taxes. Well, I think he could have said it a little bit better. I didn't pay any taxes, or very little, because I didn't have to. Because of all my predecessors put this ultra shitty income tax system in place that let people like me, because I'm wealthy, take advantage of it. Well, let's fix it.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
Coming up on 8 o'clock, straight up here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. We didn't talk yet about the elephant in the room, as they called it, and I call it, and it's an elephant because it's the GOP. If this was the DNC debate, it would be, let's talk about the ass in the room. Ha ha, the donkey, got it? Anyway, that would be Donald J. Trump, who I guess, I don't have it on, but I guess he is getting his mugshot and all that stuff taken right now in Atlanta. Anyway, lots of people are asking whether it was a good idea or a bad idea for him not to be there. My point of view only, I think it was a calculated call, and I was and am in favor of him not being there. Why? Simple. With a 40-plus point lead, why go there? Why be subject to the absolute harassment from 7 of the 8 on the stage? Ramaswamy, and I mean, he would be there wiping his ass for him, but why be subject to the harassment? That wouldn't be smart. Why speak when it would gain you 0? Being there would have cost him. If he said one thing wrong, turned his nose the wrong way, gestured the wrong way, any of that would have cost him severely. It was a smart move. Smart move. It was such a smart move. Within the next few days, it's going to be my prediction that when the next poll comes out in the next few days, the lead is going to grow over DeSantis. Yes, some of that is because DeSantis stunk like a skunk, but I think moreover, it is because Trump did the calculated thing and said, nah, I got to be there to that. I'll have to be there. And I tell you what, if this continues, this pace of 40-point plus leads, the chances of him being there are slimmer and slimmer, in my opinion. The other elephant is the attitude and demeanor of all the candidates who are establishment, globalists, elitists. Look at how DeSantis, Pence, Haley, Hutchinson, Christie, and Scott, to an extent only, handled themselves. Now, I didn't see Borgum act like a babbling idiot. And Ramaswamy is the opposite of establishment, elitism, globalism. Those, 5 or 6 that I mentioned, 7, 6 of them, total establishment politics. Totally. When pushed, they are so concentrated on not having anything remotely like Donald Trump, they lose their ever-loving frigging minds. That's where this is. This is how the game is played. It's not that they can do one thing better than the other. I can't talk tonight. It's that they will become apoplectic because they're told to. Anything that's remotely similar to Donald Trump and his brand of populism politics, they will get unhinged. They proved it last night. They will do it again. That's what the establishment cares about. It's simple. Well, then what do people see in Ramaswamy? What do the people on that stage see in Ramaswamy? They see a younger version of Trump. Is that hard to figure that out? A younger version of Trump. Whether he was prior to this or not, he is now. He got on board that train. A younger version of Trump. He is beholden to no one. He does have some interesting ideas and someone who would continue to shake up the political tree in Washington. The younger crowd loves him. He's a tech guy. He speaks the language of the younger crowd. One hand, the globalists say we need a change in leadership, but not him, because he's too much like Trump. We need somebody who's been there, done that, calls a lot of this crap. So, I mean, am I a Ramaswamy supporter? Not necessarily, but watch how this starts to roll. I'm just saying, watch how this starts to roll. The ball, quite frankly, is in Ramaswamy's court, as well as Trump. Like I said, I think Trump scored multiple points last night. Ramaswamy did as well. Is that, foreshadowing something? I don't know. We'll learn together. But I know one thing. They all 7 who watched the skinny young guy with the funny last name. Yeah, that was what Obama said. Did he mean, is he a hiding Democrat? No. Jesus, give me a break. Stop watching MSNBC, for God's sake. Keep your eye on what happens with Ramaswamy and Donald Trump. Watch that. Watch the polls. Watch the points.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
All right, 5 after the hour. Changing the story, coming out in news today was something we told you about a few weeks ago, and that was Beaufort County Deputy Administrator Whitney Richland had cleaned out her office. We had said allegedly she had. And then we heard allegedly she was seen leaving with all of her stuff in boxes. News reports came out today corroborating what we have told you, announcing that she was no longer employed with Beaufort County. This is all part of the Eric Greenway alleged scandal and the blanket gate, as they call it, the blanket gate, which Richland is, again, allegedly a part of, since her husband's company is the one who supplies the blankets in this story, but it's still alleged. When contacted, Richland, allegedly told reporters that, quote, "I am not interested in making a comment at this time." Greenway, however, wants to squeal and squeal loudly. He was scheduled to appear at Beaufort County Council on the 28th of this month, but Greenway, according to reports, wanted more than the 3 minutes allowed during public comments. And remember, we made a statement about that as well. So Chairman Passman did, quite frankly, the right thing in moving his appearance to September 11th after the county council meeting. Greenway claims, and there is a letter out there that we have a copy of it, claims that it is his legal right. I'm assuming that it is because it's gone through the channels and they've got it scheduled. I mean, I don't care if he speaks or not. I think he's an absolute outright fool for doing that. Guilty or not guilty, the wrong thing said, even presented wrong, you will be incriminating yourself, my boy. And that is stupid. That is not smart. This will be televised for the public. So I encourage you, it'll be a packed house. So watch on TV and YouTube and so forth to check it out. It'll be 9/11 for Greenway. And speaking of Greenway and his alleged troubles, financial information is coming out with respect to Lisa Lynch's, or Lisa Lynch. You know, she's the officer of Elemental LLC and their private contract, and Lisa Lynch, a county employee. Again, that's the financial stuff coming out with Lisa Lynch, one of the officers of Elemental under private contract, and Lisa Lynch, county employee. This is the same Lisa Lynch, by the way. Julianne, there was mention possible 1 to 3. Yes, I heard that. Let me say this. I'm waiting on some information to come back from a couple places. But there are county council people who are in an effort right now, diligently working to find ways to put on another 1 to 3 cent tax on sales. That's all I know. We are looking into it, and you will get the truth right here. Thank you, though. So remember the county paying her, or you need to remember, the county paid her via a contract. It was her and either her sister-in-law or mother-in-law, or not mother-in-law, sister-in-law or sister or somebody, family, paid her by contract and salary at the same time. She contends that she kept the two completely separate. But she's also been quoted as saying Greenway, quote, would help her navigate the dual roles. Greenway said that. I will help you, allegedly, I will help you navigate the dual roles. What a good guy. The hourly rate of the private contract was $275 per hour. Her salary was $110,000 per year. Up through June, I guess it was, they had been paid the contract $60,000. And that's half a year. So that's, let's just call it another $55,000. She's already made $100 and some thousand in 6 months. That ain't a bad gig, I'll have to say. Anyway, her salary, $110K a year. Lynch is reported to have said this when asked about billing as a consultant and as a county employee. And this is a quote: "I needed to make sure there's a clear delineation of my workday in terms of me being a full-time county employee and me working on the opioid contract work. I didn't want anyone to think I was giving 40 hours to the county role, etc. Wasn't giving 40 hours to the county role," end quote. And, okay, on the level, that sounds good. But this is a gal who's she's like a master of nursing or something like that. She ain't no dummy. And she didn't know that first of all, she didn't know that the role of her employment and the role of her private contract, not only did they mix, it was like DNA. They kept going in and out and in and out. I mean, even the non-learned would be able to say that's probably not right. As reported today by a local source, there are a handful of entries that really stood out, they say, after reviewing a FOIA notice on the elemental work. Number one was on April 2nd, 2023. Between Lynch and Greenway for 90 minutes, there was a invoice, 90 minutes, a cost of $343, labeled, quote, "meeting with Eric." Number two, on 4/3/23, April 3rd, next day, there was a, quote, "meeting prep for dinner with Eric," end quote. Again, Eric means Eric Greenway. There was 2 hours, and that totaled $550. April 25th, a mere 2 days later, there was a bill for, it was identified as, quote, "dinner with candidate for medical liaison position per Eric." That was for $875 and did not include the cost of the dinner. Now, no one has been able to put out there whether the dinner was paid for out of her pocket or out of a county P card. Haven't found that. But dinner with a candidate for medical liaison position per Eric, $875 to go to dinner. Whoa. Wow. Wow. When you send in a statement of accounts, there needs to be an explanation. And that explanation has to be accounted for with something that we call coding. You code it. In my business, it was coded towards warranty, coded towards new construction and the address, coded towards service and an address, coded towards cost of business, coded towards fuel, coded towards me. You see where I'm going? Meeting with Eric, meeting prep for dinner with Eric. That's not accounting for what was going on. Now, the person did not get hired, this $875 dinner minus the cost of the meal. That person did not get hired. It makes me wonder, who is this person? Who is this person? Do I know anything? No, I don't know anything, but I've got to wonder, who is this person? I don't know. My question, though, with all of this is this. Is county council asking the really hard questions? We have to know. And, a lot of county council folks watch this, and I appreciate that. I appreciate them for what they do, the time they spend working for the people of this county. Now, if they feel like they're working for the county, then I have no appreciation for them because they're doing it for the wrong damn reasons. Be that as it may, I hope they all get to hear what I'm about to say. We must know. The citizens must know. Folks, you have got to demand county council stand up to these tyrannical words of leadership and demand a financial audit firm be hired, not a legal firm, which is who they're looking at, who they're talking to investigate the 3 resolutions they passed. Stop. Go back several weeks when all this was coming out. Chairman Passam had said they voted on and passed 3 resolutions. Investigate this, investigate this, investigate this, all from January through June or whatever of this year. Greenway, purchasing the P card, all that stuff. Mark Lawson, the chair of the Finance Committee and whatever else name they changed it to, should be the one doing this. From what I'm gathering, it allegedly looks like Joe Passman is actually steering the ship, being, the henchman of the chairman of finance. He's just there for kicks and giggles, I guess. People have got to demand that they hire financial firms, a forensic accountant firm, not legal firm. That's who they are interviewing, legal companies, legal entities. Could there be attorneys that have an accountant on staff? Sure. I mean, anything's possible. We have attorneys who are also doctors in the police chase world. I mean, I guess that's possible, but not probable. We said last week that allegedly we understand that Burr Foreman is one of the 3 that they're talking to, or one of the 2, or whatever it comes out to be. If they tell folks who they're interviewing, we have to demand it go through. Oh, and what's the big deal about Burr? Well, they're already working for the county. How in God's name could you trust anybody that's already in there, that's got their fingers in the pie mix? You cannot do that. Citizens have got to stand up and speak out that this is not acceptable behavior. Financial forensic auditors, period. Now, if they hire a law firm and that law firm hires an outside financial forensic auditor, okay. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Otherwise, I don't trust it at all. Also, county council has got to go back and investigate the beginning of the time Eric Greenway was first hired at the county. If you suspect there are alleged misdealings in finances, in employment, in procurement, in whatever, you have to go back to when he started. January 1st did not come around and he allegedly all of a sudden go, you know what, I think I'll start doing it this way. No, that doesn't make sense. Come on, get your head out of your ass. You start back when he started, which would have been 2019, 2020, right in there somewhere. You're spending the money. You might as well do it the right way. Furthermore, a fine-tooth comb needs to be run through the hair of the procurement office. I have said this on 2 different shows. I'm going to say it again. I'm telling you, please, I'm being very clear. Please understand, if you have any questions, you don't know what I'm talking about, call me, write me, stop me in the grocery store line. I'll be glad to explain this very succinctly. My friends and colleagues on county council, you not only have the right to demand investigations of the procurement office, let's just say the last 10 years, not only do you have the right, every one of you, all 11 of you are equal. Joe Passman allegedly believes he is the czar, he is the prince, he's the king. But, Let him think that. You are all equal, all 11. You have 1/11 apiece of the pie. Nobody's got more. You not only have the right, it is your responsibility and your duty as fiduciaries of this county to do so. You all are the fiduciary of my tax money. You are the fiduciary of your neighbor's tax money. You are the fiduciary of my neighbor's tax money. Multiply that 200,000 times, whatever. It is that is part of what we hired you to do, to be our fiduciary. I know county council members watch this, as I said, and I ask, when will you be doing the necessary things I'm mentioning that will get all of us the truth, what is going on behind county closed doors? People demand answers. Why won't you give the answers to the people?
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
All right. It is now 21 minutes past the hour, coming around turn 4. In the title of tonight's program, I had said we wanted to start a new series looking at what I call South Carolina's underserved and underappreciated area. This area is also known in this county and in other counties, portions, that it is part of the corridor of shame. The corridor of shame. Also known, this area, as Senate District 45. This is the area of South Carolina's underserved and underappreciated. This area is the Allendale, Hampton, Jasper, part of Beaufort, part of Colleton, part of Charleston counties. Parts of this area have always been, in my opinion, left out of the conversation. They've been ignored by the bigger populations in metro, if you will, areas like Beaufort, Charleston, Columbia. They've been named as those people who don't know any better. This area, South Carolina's underserved and underappreciated, Senate District 45, even had a major problem not that long ago with drinking water, kind of a Flint, Michigan on a smaller scale, but just as a large of an impact. Money spent on things in this area seems to always be promised, but never delivered. Money promised, promises, never delivered, never received. The possibilities have always been envisioned in this area of the underserved and underappreciated, but no one ever really came through. This area at one time, I will say, at one time had a very good political figure as the senator from this area, Clementa Pinckney, up until his untimely death at Emmanuel Chapel in Charleston. Things still, however, were not getting done timely prior to that. And there has been a steady stream of, just sit back and wait your turn, people, kind of an attitude. Senator Pinckney did wonderful things for the people of this state. No doubt about it. No question about it. Nice guys don't always win. There was more to be done, and this area is severely underserved and severely underappreciated. And we can't allow for people to have the just sit back and wait your turn, people kind of attitude. I want to take you to a trip of this area. Here's some statistics, total population. And this is all approximations, okay? 107,000 people Male, 50%. Female, 49.7%. The other 0.3%, I don't know what they are. I guess they're cats. Identifying as Black, 49.6%. Identifying as Caucasian, 47.5%. Isn't that interesting? Pretty much equal male-female, pretty much equal white-black. Total 18 and over is 89%. 89%. High school graduates, 42%. Some college, 19%. BS degree, 12%. And associate's degree, 19%. And no high school diploma, 12%. There's an education problem in this area. Only 42% of the population has a high school graduation or a high school diploma of some sort. There's a problem there. There's a problem there. Employed, 51%. Unemployment rate, 8%. We'll talk about that because that is not, you can't have that. Income less than 10,000, 8% of the people. 25 to 50K, 31%. 50,000 to 100,000, 25%. And 100,000 to $150,000 in income, 10%. So the bulk is between $25,000 to $50,000, 31%. And if you take those in severe poverty, that makes it 40% almost of the population is between 10,000 and or less than 10,000. Let's just call it zero, and $50,000. We have an employment problem in this area. This area has the least amount of people by Senate district in the state. 47 people per square mile, excluding water. 46 out of 46. There's 46 counties, and this area, or there's 46 Senate districts, and this area is 46. Least number of people per square mile, excluding water. Comparatively, Senate District 46, which is held by Tom Davis, has 394 people per square mile and is ranked 15th out of 46, and it's next door. So it's a big, expansive area full of land, and people are spread out. I contend because people are so spread out, they are being left behind, forgotten about, if you will. Major means of employment in this area are farming, manufacturing, construction, and healthcare, in not any particular order, but there is still a major unemployment problem of 8%. The average unemployment rate in South Carolina is 3.1%. Okay? Nationally, it's 3.5%. This area, Senate District 45, the underserved and underappreciated, more than twice, like more than 2.5 times the unemployment rate is right there. That is not acceptable. More jobs in the manufacturing, IT and information services, healthcare, education can be located there. There's a fantastic economic development alliance that serves that area, and they do a great job. They need more help. An extreme issue in this area is the possibility of the workforce having a huge boost, lowering the unemployment rate below the state average without affecting the natural beauty and atmosphere of the ruralness. Okay, did that make sense what I just said? The issue is the possibility of having a workforce having a huge boost, lowering the unemployment rate below the state average, below the national average, but not affecting the natural beauty and atmosphere of the ruralness. How in the hell do you do that? That is called the Jasper Ocean Terminal, which ironically would be in this Senate district. The subject of the Jasper port has sort of, quote unquote, cooled off, as some people have said, in the past few years, but it is still active. when I was on county council, I worked with Senator Tom Davis on helping any way possible that we could from a Beaufort County standpoint into making this port possible. I helped in bringing a computational science program to USCB, which now has a master's program in it in advance of the port. But it has, again, cooled off in the news. Excuse me. We will go into more detail and an in-depth look at the port as we move forward and where we are. But think about this. You know, the number of jobs the JOT, Jasper Ocean Terminal, would bring to the area, which does include Chatham and Effingham counties in Georgia, the 5 or 6 counties in South Carolina that I mentioned, and actually other counties in totality. But let's just talk about those. The number of jobs is estimated slightly north now of 1 million jobs. That doesn't mean on day one there are all of a sudden a million more people. That's not what that means. A million jobs. The amount of revenue is estimated at over $10 billion for South Carolina and Georgia. Think about that for a second. Let's just go halvesies, okay, for kicks and giggles. The Jasper Ocean Terminal bringing in $5 billion in revenue for the state of South Carolina. What does that do? Or what does that mean for counties like Jasper, rural Beaufort, Allendale, Hampton, rural Colleton, and even rural Charleston? Good question. You're paying attention. It means this. It means wide-ranging, if not 100% coverage of the latest broadband services that, let me tell you, this area, even in well-populated places like where I live, but this area, the underserved and underappreciated area, which doesn't even have cable in some areas, would now have the ability to have the latest broadband service. Education improvements in facilities, and teacher pay above national averages, above the national average. Educational offerings of a national preference. No longer would Alabama or Georgia say, thank God for South Carolina. This would be able to put South Carolina at the top. Transportation networks in and around the low country of South Carolina and coastal empire of Georgia. This would offer the latest technology in refuse cycling and energy production. That's right. We would be able to do what places like York County, Pennsylvania did, which was build a incredibly beautiful, and I'm not joking, look it up, recycling place. I don't know if they call it a plant or, I mean, I've been there. It's a recycling place. And it looks like a hospital or a college. It's beautiful. And they burn trash with 0% emissions. They produce water. They produce mulch. They have fields for kids to play organized sports. It's amazing, but it takes money. It takes money. Yes, remote employment. Absolutely, Julian. Absolutely. They take glass and make sand. They take tires and make mulch. I mean, the list goes on and on. You would be able to do that. Medical care equal to or even better than what is found by traveling to Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, or elsewhere. Hugely, the lowering of tax rates by the influx of state revenue and county revenue. Well, how do you figure that? Well, let's just take fire district taxes. Where is the cheapest fire district taxes in Beaufort County? Bluffton Township. Where is the most expensive? Sheldon Township. Sheldon Township has like the least amount of people. Bluffton has per capita the most. You see the correlation. Little to no impact on the environment where the citizens would live. This is the effect of the Jasper Ocean Terminal over here on the Savannah River. Little to no impact on the environment where the citizens live, play and go to school. This should, by all accounts, keep children at home instead of leaving once they've graduated high school, or in this case, quit, to go elsewhere and find employment. That should stop that. Keep our kids. Every politician, we want to keep our kids here. Don't let them leave. We want them to stay here and have families, blah, blah, blah. This is one way it could happen. Stay here. The better is here, not there. The farming industry would benefit by the immense influx of technology into the area, this entire area. So the crops like Sea Island cotton, the Low Country watermelons, St. Helena tomatoes, as they call them, our kiwis, etc., would flourish. Not to mention new products, new technologies brought into the farming industries. The people of the rural farmland can keep their land the way they want them, rural. Taxes would be lower, so added industry as a direct relevance to the need to lower the taxes would be sidestepped. This higher education system would see an influx of investment that would be mind-blowing. USCB is now, they were like an NAIA level. Now they're a Division II or Division III. Maybe it's Division III. NCAA. Jasper Ocean Terminal and the investments in education that would bring would make this school a Division I university. Its affiliates throughout the area, like USC, Salkehatchie. This would be a win-win for industry. It would be a win-win for people. You'd keep kids here. It's a Division I school here. Industry would want to move here because you've got a higher education system right here. You don't have to import them. Same thing with tradesmen or home services or all of that. Influx would be, TCL would be unbelievably grown. I applaud Senator Tim Scott when he created the Opportunity Zones program. An opportunity zone is an economically distressed community where new investments under certain conditions may be eligible for preferential tax treatment. In South Carolina, the area that we are talking about, which is from really Orangeburg south, inland of 95, is all an opportunity zone. How does that work? Well, opportunity zones are an economic development tool. That is, they are designed to spur economic development and job creation in distressed communities. The JOT is the driver, and all of the spinoffs from it are a part of the 1 million jobs and new businesses. Some of those would be trucking firms, logistics companies, container shipping and storage, railway businesses due to a new spur, port jobs, law enforcement, first responders, construction, all of the feeder businesses that are required to support all of those, and so on. Julianne, but that doesn't play into Agenda 21, 15-minute city. No, this is completely not Agenda 21 stuff. This is the Jasper Ocean Terminal and all of these things that would happen around it to a place that is underserved and underappreciated is growth by having that growth done elsewhere, vis-a-vis the port and all of the things that would build up around the port to support the port, to support those businesses that are ancillary to the port. It's not planned communities. No, none of that. This is being able to lower a tax rate in an area inland, okay, along the corridor of shame that has no jobs, that has no education, that has no medical facilities. Hospitals are closing there. They had, up until recently, water in one area that they couldn't drink. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody cares. the U.S. senator or congressman, rather, in that area, talks a big game. He doesn't care. I mean, he's shown that. He promised money to counties hand over fist, and it never showed up. Current state senator is sleeping on the job when she's at the job, for gosh sakes. But no, this is not an Agenda 21 thing at all. I'm glad if that's what you're asking, I hope I didn't take it out the wrong avenue. But it is not Agenda 21. And let me tell you, I'm glad that you asked that, Julianne, because Agenda 21 is something that I have fought right before I got on county council. And I have been warning people that the Bay Area plan, which was the forefront of Agenda 21, would spin off into all of these things called Beaufort 2040 or Hardyville 2020 or 2050. All that kind of stuff is Agenda 21. The Bay Area plan. It's proven. Read them. It's exactly walkable communities. All these famous comprehensive plans. That's all buzzwords for Agenda 21. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, we're going to be taking more and more talking more about the underserved and underappreciated in South Carolina Senate District 45 as we go forward each week, and what can be done to change the perception, change the mentality of the people that are living there who have, quite frankly, grown accustomed to being treated as less than. They've grown accustomed to not having services that everywhere else has. They've grown accustomed to, we don't have the internet. We don't have cable TV, they say. We want to change that mentality. We want to change the mentality of people that say, those people, they brought it on themselves. Those people, they need to do what they do. We've got to change the mentality inside the game and outside the game. If we do that, that will change the outcome for all.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
All right. We are about a quarter till the hour, and we are coming around turn 4. Thanks, Julianne. Yes, anything. Absolutely. So don't forget, last week I made a statement, and haven't had anybody take me up on it yet, but I want to make sure you hear about it. Last week I made a statement that if anyone wanted to run for mayor of the town of Bluffton, I have a method, secret as it may be, that will all but guarantee you a victory. You just need to announce that you're running and get in touch with me. I'll sit down and I'll give this little secret to you. Hell, I'll even give it to Toomer, Larry Toomer, who's already announced that he's running. Just needs to ask. Now, this is serious. This is a serious thing. I poke fun at it, but this is serious. The town of Bluffton does not have to be ran the way it always has been. Nothing against the current mayor. The current mayor, who's been the mayor for quite a while, she's the overall #1 cheerleader for the town of Bluffton ever. Lisa Solka is, without question, the biggest cheerleader for the town of Bluffton, period. It is just a fact, ladies and gentlemen, and a political secret. I got to tell you, it's a political secret. Ted Huffman and I have talked about this down there at Bluffton Barbecue. If you want the best barbecue, go there. I will gladly share with someone wanting to have a mentor and win this race. So my question to you, if you are tired of the same old, then when are you going to do something about it? When will you do something about it? All you got to do is ask. Run for mayor. Send me an email. Let me see if I've got my email up here. Nope. Thank you for watching, though. Okay, that's not my email, but it's bigpatriotradio@gmail.com. That's bigpatriotradio@gmail.com. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Time is of the essence. I don't know the date of election. I don't know that they are on the 3rd of November or 4th or 5th or whatever. It may be some other time. The municipalities do some funny stuff when it comes to voting. I'm not really sure when that is. Anyhow, you can't change things if you don't run. If nobody is willing to stick their neck out, to stand up for something and run for office, then you cannot legitimately make a complaint. Okay? I'll have to say, we announced it here. A friend of mine, Laura Sterling, has announced she's running for Senate seat 46, which is held by Tom Davis, one of the most popular senators in this state. She has an uphill battle. She knows it, but she also knows that she cannot complain if she doesn't run for the office. Anyway, next week, another big show, a really big show coming up. We'll be lining up another guest. Got a couple we're talking to, trying to work some dates out to have them on the show. So until then, keep yourself and your family safe, and good night, America.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men know the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men know the rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.